Well, I think that, we talk a lot about eating disorders in the book. We talk about more of it. We don't really talk about what you eat. We talk about when you eat and why you eat. I think what we're all doing with all of our addictions, whatever, is essentially avoiding the negative feeling, the one that's no fun to experience with grief. We've heard some interesting stories of grief today and people moving through grief and all. One of the great things about gratitude is that you cannot be angry and grateful, I think, at the same time. I'm not sure you can be afraid and grateful at the same time.
I don't believe so.
Talk a little bit about your daily practice to stay in gratitude and relate it, if you can, to the process of giving it away. We get to keep the miracle by giving it away.
Well, first, I can't have gratitude. Well, I can't have trust without gratitude first. And for me, I had to use discipline, mental and emotional discipline, to count my blessings, to value those, to be in acceptance, and then trust comes. And I've always said I spell faith, T-R-U-S-T. When I have a sense of trust, I feel safe, I feel empowered, I feel ageless, I feel like I'm open to seeing what's next. I love the big amigo idea, Paul.
Yeah.
Prayer I have in the morning is, so what are we going to do today, God? What's up? And to me, that's a far cry from when I started the race in recovery.
Yeah.
It's not where you start the race, it's how you finish it that I think is important.
Judith?
Yes?
Talk about your daily practice. What do you do every day to stay connected to that place of trust? Because you told me a great story about driving down the street that you were just barely getting by with the one house. You see a house that's empty and for sale. Mm-hmm. And what happened?
Well, my first house only houses 11 women, and that's in the entire state. And the thought kept running through my head because I had to keep turning women away. We can do better, we can do better. And so I was just driving around one day on a street I don't normally drive on, and I had no equity left. I didn't have any financing left. And I see this house, and it was this big 2-story old house. And out front it said, for sale by owner. And I just pulled up, and I didn't know why I was pulling up, and I called the number and said, could you just tell me about the house? And they said, is that you sitting outside? And I said, yes. They invited me in, and I said, this would be perfect. It would be perfect. And so I just didn't know how I was going to do it. Went back to the bank, and I qualified for another loan. And so, yeah, I'm going to be in debt 50 years after I pass away. It's just, it's crazy. But the bank is gracious and
every month, somehow.
Every month. Well, talking about trust, I got some of my daily practice from you, and it was I have a daily spiritual practice, and the prayer that I learned from you was, surprise me today, lead me where you need me. And that's how I live my day. And every day I go to the mailbox, and I found myself when I'd get some bills or something in the mailbox, my mood would just tank. How am I gonna, the fear would set in, the trust would go out the window. How am I gonna cover this? Because I don't get state funding, federal funding, I don't get anything. And so my mood would tank if there were bills, and then if there was a letter or donation in there, then my mood would skyrocket. So my moods were going up and down, and that was not really healthy for my recovery. And so I developed the practice that I go to the mailbox, I put the key in, and I say out loud, people think I'm crazy, but I say thank you before I open it. Because whether it's a bill or whether it's a donation, I need to practice gratitude because there's something for me to learn. And that's how I learn it, because it's like, surprise me today, lead me where you need me. And every month I have to have about $6,000 to pay for all the mortgages, the insurance, the taxes, everything, running 2 households with all these women. And so there's some days where I have $200 in the bank, and I'll call my sponsor and I'll say, I'm freaking out. I have $200 by the 1st. I need $6,000, and my sponsor says, do you have enough money until midnight? And I say, yes, I do, until midnight. And my sponsor will say, okay, great, call me tomorrow and we'll ask the question again, and hangs up on me. And so that's how I live my day. And I'll tell you, every single month on the 1st, there's enough money to cover everything, just enough, never anymore. And I'll get notes in the mail. My mother died of this disease. I wish she would have had something like Hope Manor to help her. Here's $500. Or here's $25. Here's a celebration of my sobriety of 20 years. Here's $1,000. And every month I'll get those notes and cards, and it covers every month, it covers our expense. And the women also contribute.
Yeah.
We believe in being self-supporting.
So you trust and your world expands instead of contracting in fear.
Yes.
That's why I get up in the morning and I say, surprise me, God. And my wife, Mariana, says to me, why do you do that? That seems a little dangerous, you know, because sometimes, you know, that we read about the tornadoes or whatever. I go, no, I'm trusting that what's coming in is going to be, you know, the highest good of all concerned and all. Am I a participant in building the life that I have today because I expect, is a great expectation a part of the recovery that you practice?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, every morning as part of my practice is a meditation and just letting go into the breath, letting go into the moment, and really trusting this, I think what Pema Chodron recently said is positive groundlessness, and just being in this open space of, you know, really trusting that anything could happen and we could be okay. And, you know, recently I've been thinking of discipline as good orderly direction. Like, discipline is good orderly direction of just following what the next step is. It's part of what got me to this conference. You know, I followed little trails that got me here, and I'm following them still. I have a couple of people that have called me recently who have eating disorders and addictions, both, and are really looking for a compassionate group that talks about recovery, and it's going to be happening this month. I mean, that is my way of giving back and keeping what I have, and really trusting that, you know, I'm going to be where I need to be in order to be of service.
And finding that your tribe, and what I describe it as being most comfortable in the center of the herd. And there's something about being around other alcoholics, other people in recovery from whatever they're in recovery from, that is a safe place for me and all. So. And now, incidentally, this gentleman sitting up here looks like just the nicest, sweetest guy in the world. James is also a physical trainer, you know, a personal trainer, and he works with this little blonde guy sitting in front of you. So I want you to know he can be a terrifying human being, you know, as you're doing inverted push-ups, which God did not intend anyone to ever do an inverted push-up. What is my nickname for you? You can say it.
Monsieur le Prick.
Monsieur le Prick.
About halfway through the session, my name changes.
Yeah. Well, I'd just love to let everybody have just a couple words to just kind of wrap up their own essence of their own gratitude and their own thoughts about what this has meant. Because this is a powerful energy that we're all experiencing.
Well, I'd like to thank Tracy and Paul. Thanks for having me be a part of this. I wanted to make a connection. That's what I wanted to do when I came out here. I made a connection with a lot of new folks that have attended the conference. And why I like that is because I'm passionate by championing that part of us, which is the author of our dreams, you know. And but I know everybody. I used to say that everyone's good at the 10-yard dash, so I'm interested in the second mile. I'm interested in that time where we can hold and be in community and keep our dream and build our dreams. You know, for me, if you're like me, I was over-analytical to a fault, and that was a safety mechanism for me. So just being open to the big surprise is great. And all that involves with me much of the time is just to say yes. Is just to say yes. And then I show up and I do things, and my world gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And for that, I'm eternally grateful.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Adrienne.
I'm really grateful to be able to be here and share this with you guys. And the thing that I really just want to leave everyone with is this idea of recovering compassion towards all parts of yourself. And, you know, there's such gratitude that I have that I can do that for myself, to be able to hold parts of myself that are really uncomfortable, that are really painful, and to be curious about them, about why is this here? What lesson does this have for me? And then being able to give that back to other people. And then when people in the world do things that would normally piss us off, that we could just be curious about it. Wow, why did that person cut me off? What's their suffering? You know, being curious about your own suffering and the suffering of others is really something that can transform. So thanks for having me here, and I have a lot of gratitude.
Yeah. Judith?
I also would like to say thank you so much for having me here. I think the overwhelming thing that I'm taking away from today and my life of recovery is my life has changed from, I always was looking at the impending doom, and now in the future. And today I try to be right here, right now, in the presence, and be, I live in impending goodness instead of, you know, right here, right now, impending goodness instead of impending doom. I would have to say that I am eternally grateful for you and my other brothers and sisters in recovery who have saved my life, who gave it to me for fun and for free, so freely, and really saved my life. And you know, if I can pass that on to one other person, then everything has been worth it. And my own painful past is my greatest asset that I can use in helping somebody else avert death and misery. And, you know, it talks about being on that express train through hell, which is where I was in my addiction, my alcoholism and drug abuse. And I don't have to be there anymore.
No.
So it's pretty awesome, so thank you.
Clearly, there's hope for the hopeless, and recovery works on whatever you're dealing with in your life that needs to be turned shiny side up. There are ways to do it, but you know, well, I say you begin with something needs to change. Is probably me. You know what I'm experiencing right now? I just have to share this. My daughter is a LCSW, and she's just. I sit next to you and I listen to the work you're doing, and I feel the energy of the work you're doing, and all the goodness that you spread, and the health and the help, and I think, wow, I got a little girl that does that too, and I can't tell you what that feels like. I'll be 75 in September. I could not have imagined the life I have today. It's all related to the headwaters of it is all in my own recovery. So this has been a celebration. Thanks for listening to us. More great speakers to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.